My own journey, I've mutilated myself, but I'm an adult. But now I'm, reflecting, and I'm realizing my errors, and I'm living with regret. So yeah, when I shared that, I just started getting so much hate from the LGBT, especially the trans community. I mean, they are so hateful to me. I get thousands of death threats all the time, hate messages and stuff. And any teen that speaks up, or any person that speaks up on detransitioning, is bombarded with hate. So I'm Ollie London, I'm a TikToker, I do K-pop music, I'm a YouTuber as well, and recently I've become an activist for women and children who I feel that need a voice. So when I was a teenager, when I used to go to high school, I used to get bullied all the time. Mostly it was about my looks. People would comment on my face, that I looked ugly, I looked like a monster, but then also some people would say I looked like a girl, or I sounded like a girl, or I was more feminine, more like a woman. So that was kind of really the first time I started to question, maybe am I feeling like I'm born in the wrong body? Am I meant to be a girl because everybody else around me keeps saying I'm a girl? So that's when I had the first initial thoughts. And then it was really the last few years I'd been struggling with an identity crisis. I'd been having a lot of surgery, plastic surgery, and I got to a point where I wasn't happy. So I thought maybe the reason I'm unhappy is because I feel that I should be a trans woman. Society was telling me it's so easy, it's normal, everybody's doing it. So I thought maybe that's the answer to my problems. So I had all the facial feminization surgeries, the swelling had gone down, a few months had passed. I was actually, going out in dresses, and I didn't feel comfortable. All my friends were telling me, you look beautiful, you look great. I would have so many compliments. I even went on the red carpet in Cannes in this pink dress, and I was so embarrassed. I felt awful, but all my fans were there, they cheered me on. But I just didn't feel right, and I wasn't in heels because I thought I can't walk in heels yet. So it was really quite a traumatic process. I thought this would make me happier, and it wasn't. And I was trying, to look a certain way, and I'm thinking I'm still not happy. So I got to a point where I was thinking, why am I not happy? I've changed. Everybody told me I should be a woman. I look better as a woman. Why am I still not satisfied? And then I just started to question myself. I'd lie in bed at night and thinking, why have I destroyed myself? Why have I done all this to myself? Why have I changed my identity? I've upset my family, I've upset my friends. I'm also not a good role model, because I have so many young fans that follow me. This is not setting a good example. So I really started to have so many sleepless nights. I had insomnia, and I just started to regret everything I did. And I was thinking, I didn't make the right life choices. And society told me that I should be a woman. Everybody kept telling me since I was a teen and stuff. So I kind of fell victim to that. But of course I have to blame myself, because I was getting addicted to surgery and I just wasn't satisfied. So I thought maybe being a woman would give me that satisfaction. So yeah, I just got to that realization. I couldn't sleep. I was feeling very bad. And then I started going to church, and that really, really helped. It helped give me some clarity and focus, and realize, there are more important things in the world. Church is like a community, so there's a lot of people trying to help other people that are suffering. And I was thinking, why am I spending my life doing surgery? Why am I transitioning to become a woman? And then I've got so many young people looking at me, maybe they're going to want to copy me. And I think I can't live with that if some young teen wants to, because it's trendy, to have surgery to look Korean or to look trans, because they've seen me on TikTok. So I felt like I had a social responsibility to stop what I was doing and just find the real me inside and just try and find happiness with that. With the gender transition, I started with the facial feminization surgery. So that was actually in Turkey. So that was last year. And I was planning to have more body surgeries to make me more feminine in Thailand. And I was actually planning for December 2022. And thankfully I came to my senses before, because that would have destroyed my life forever. I would have been so unhappy for the rest of my life. So, I came close to doing that. I had consulted with doctors in Thailand. I'd spoken to a few, and, they made it sound very easy. And that's actually the most difficult surgery you can have if you do body surgery. So, I hadn't got that far, but I had done the facial feminization and, changed my life. I was living as a trans woman day to day, women's clothing. I had the hair extensions and stuff. But yeah, thankfully I didn't go all the way, else I'd regret that. Because I was thinking, okay, am I seriously going to go through this and basically mutilate my body? Because, there's a chance that if I do this, firstly I might die, because that's probably the most invasive surgery you could ever have. and the most painful. And, you know, it was very, very risky. So I was contemplating that, but I was also contemplating, like, that changes everything about me. Like, is that really how far I want to go? Because, you know, it's one thing that I've changed my entire face. You know, I feel like with the face, you can always change it again. I mean, I've always been trying to change it again. So, you know, as far as you go with the face, you can still do more. But when it comes to the body, you can't reverse that. So that's why I was contemplating. I was thinking, do I really, really want to do this? Because I could regret it. And, you know, there were some people telling me, my friends, you need to do it. This is who you're born to be. And then you see online, you see these people that transition, you know, all these people like YouTubers like Nikita Dragon in America. And, you know, it looks so fun. It looks so easy. And, you know, they seem so happy and confident after doing those surgeries. But, you know, there is such a risk. And, you know, thankfully I did research the risk. And it did put me off. And thankfully, I came to my senses months before that happening. But, you know, there are many teens across the world now that are being pushed to do these surgeries. And they're told it's easy. They're told, you know, it's just a quick, easy procedure. And they don't realize this is going to, you know, ruin them for life. And they're going to have many health and medical conditions for life. So, you know, I'm glad I considered that before doing the surgeries. But, you know, I hope other people will think about that and, you know, don't do that, because it's just going to ruin their life. Well, I didn't have the body surgeries, thank goodness, but I'm left with a lot of scars. So, I mean, I've got a really bad scar in my hairline. It goes all the way down here. I've got scars in the back of my neck. So I'm covered in scars. I've got cartilage coming up my nose, difficulty breathing. So, you know, I am left with issues, which, you know, I'm stuck with now. You know, I'm happier the way I look now than I used to look, much, much happier. But, you know, I still have the scarring and stuff. But, you know, for somebody that goes through the full surgery, the scarring, firstly, is horrendous. I mean, it really does ruin your body. It's very, very sad to see that. But also, you know, if a person changes their vagina to a penis, they're going to have a lot of complications with that their whole life. You know, it almost becomes a disability. It really does affect your whole life, and it takes over, and it's not comfortable for these people. They don't realize it. And then also they're on medication, hormones their entire life. And that's a lot of money for these doctors. It's lifelong money, lifelong prescriptions, lifelong medical appointments. So, you know, if you think, why are these doctors performing it? It's a lot of money. $70,000 for a female to transition to a male in America. That's the going rate, $70,000. That's just for the surgeries. And then imagine all the medication for their whole life. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars per patient. So when you see, you know, 300 gender clinics spring up in America in just a few years, you have to question, you know, what is the motive? And there's a lot of money behind it. I think that's one of the driving forces. When I first detransitioned, I actually shaved all my hair off. And, you know, I shaved all my hair off. I was donating it for charities to help the women of Iran. So it was a statement to help people, but also it was a statement for me to feel like cleansed and new again. You know, removing all that hair, starting again. I looked more boyish. I started going to the gym. I work out all the time now. But I do feel like I look too feminine still. You know, people still think I'm a girl, or people call me she. I get called madam every time I go to a restaurant by like the servers. And it's like, it's kind of annoying because, you know, I don't want to look like a girl. So I know my face is more feminine now. I don't want to go through surgery again. It's very, very painful. But, you know, I do consider it. I'm thinking, you know, it is an addiction, but I'm trying to beat that addiction. But I'm thinking, you know, I don't look masculine enough. What can I do? I'm going to go for some non-surgical procedures. I have, you know, filler in my jaws already. But I'm going to go for a non-surgical thread lift this year, see how that looks, if that can make the jaw more defined. And I'm working out a lot. And, you know, I have been considering six-pack surgery in Turkey. That's a very painful one, to look more masculine. But I'm trying my best to go to the gym every day. I want to do things naturally from now on, but I'm still tempted by those things. So when I announced my detransition, it wasn't a lot of news networks. I originally shared it with some American channels. So I was on Fox News, Tucker Carlson. I was on EWTN, which is a Catholic channel in America, Newsmax, and various other networks. You know, I was sharing it because I think it's an important story to tell, because from my research and from what I was seeing, there were teens that were actually speaking out and, you know, regretting what they'd done. And, you know, when I'd really done my research and saw this is mostly an American problem where these kids have access. But when I was seeing these teenagers, 15 years old, having these surgeries, and I'm thinking, that's crazy. You know, they're mutilating their body. They're going to regret that one day. They're going to have health problems. And then I was thinking, you know, my own journey, I've mutilated myself, but I'm an adult. But now I'm, reflecting and I'm realizing my errors and I'm living with regret. Maybe I can help these people. So that's why I wanted to share the story. I thought, if I can help these teens, stop them from going to a doctor at age 15 and, having their body mutilated, which is just so upsetting. If I can help them, that's a great thing. So yeah, when I shared that, I just started getting so much hate from the LGBT, especially the trans community. I mean, they are so hateful to me and it's just so wrong. But, I can deal with the hate. I'm kind of used to it, being an online personality. But, it was very hateful, and I've always been supportive of LGBT. I'm always supportive of anyone, I just feel if somebody wants to live their life, do it. But I also feel there needs to be boundaries, because with people self-identifying these days, men can suddenly put on a wig and still have a beard and go into the women's restroom and change in the women's locker room, use the women's space. And that is so wrong. That's an invasion on women's privacy. These are the kinds of people that, are pushing that. They are the most hateful. These trans activists are very threatening to women. They're also pushing this onto kids. And like I said, I've always supported the LGBT community, but I think these trans activists have now hijacked that community. I became Christian last year. When I was at my first school as a kid, I did actually go to a Church of England school, so we did have to go to church every week. So I was always familiar with Christianity. In school, we'd do religious studies, so I always knew about it. I was always interested in it, but I was actually an atheist most of my life. But then I just got to a point where, I always believed in a higher power, whether it's a universal God. I always believed in that, and I would still pray for a wish to come true. Please make me look Korean. Please make me look like a beautiful trans woman. And it didn't really work. But so maybe I was praying in the wrong place. But, when I started going to church, I just felt really happy. And I was like, everything I've been doing is meaningless. There's more to life than this. If I can study the teachings of Jesus, you don't have to be religious. But if you study what Jesus taught, he had some very kind messages about helping your neighbors, helping others, spreading kindness. I thought that was a really nice message, and I thought, I'm the sort of person that I get so confused and lost in my own world that I need some structure in my life. So if I can go to church a few times a week, that could save me from myself, because I'm my own worst enemy. So that actually really did save me. And the people that I met at the church, the priests and stuff, they were so welcoming and so kind. I mean, the outpouring of support I had from Christians, in so many in America, so many in the UK and across the world, it was just incredible. And they're so lovely, they're so kind, and they're so embracing. And I have to say, with Christians and conservatives, they're actually the least transphobic people. They just want the best for society. They want the best for kids and the best for women. They're not transphobic. They don't have a problem with individuals, with their identity. They just have a problem with the woke culture and people losing their human rights and kids being indoctrinated. And they're the most nicest people. I've met some amazing friends in America that are Christian, and I would like to get baptized this year. I'm going to Catholic church, want to do communion and get baptized in America and stuff, and just kind of talk about that. And I'm releasing my book, mostly in America, but it'll be around the world as well later this year. And I will be talking about you don't have to be religious to read it, but I'll be talking about how faith can help you get through difficult times, whether you're religious or not, and how, that guided me personally, and, my advice to other people, how to help themselves, and just talk about detransitioning and identity struggles, talk about what I've been through and stuff, and how difficult it is, how I found faith, and, how it's made me a better person and want to help spread this positive message. I would just say to any teens listening to this, it's perfectly normal as a teenager to go through these things. Every single person that's an adult today would have experienced something as a kid. Everybody goes through a phase. You might be a goth, you might be an emo, you might want to dress like a rock star, you might want to look like Kim Kardashian. Totally okay. This is what kids like to do. Kids are kids. 1 week they want to be something, the next week they want to be something completely different. So with a kid's mind, they're always changing their minds. So to commit to a decision to change their entire life is a very risky thing for a kid. And again, kids can't make this decision. They're not adults. They're not fully developed. Their brains aren't fully developed. So they shouldn't be making these decisions. Again, they can't get a tattoo or smoke. So why should they be doing these things? So I would just say to any kid, stay strong, hang in there. You are beautiful the way you are. Just be happy the way you are. And don't listen to other influences around you that are telling you to do these things. If somebody says you're born in the wrong gender, just, ignore them, or just realize that you should be the way you are, just be happy the way you are, and, don't fall victim to these trends. You see on TikTok these trends, and they're popular, they get millions of views, so people want to emulate them or transition to emulate them. Don't fall victim to that. Be a free thinker. Try to avoid social media if you can, because that's actually kind of harmful. And just be happy in your own body.